Skylander Giants. This game is not only the best in the Skylander franchise, but it may be one of the greatest games of all time. Skylander Giants was released while the Toys to Life gimmick was still fresh and before the Skylanders franchise had completely gone to shit through going woke or introducing boring gimmicks such as, you know, just give them cars or we give up, you guys can make your own. I mean, this was the first sequel in the Skylanders franchise, so how did they top the glory that was the first game? I mean, they needed a gimmick to differentiate it from the first game so it wasn't just more of the same. So what did they do? One Activision employee was like, hold up guys, I got an idea. Let's make them big. So they made 8 big Skylanders, called them Giants, made some new levels, released it as a new game. Boom, biggest success in the first one. Skylander Giants are still the coolest figures in the franchise to this day. So I thought I'd make this video in celebration of the fact that we are 320 days away from Skylander Giant's 12th anniversary. So I'm doing a video where I rank all 8 of the Giant figures based on how much I like them, purely nothing else. You know, this could be movesets, this could be their look, this could be their catchphrase, whatever. This list could get a little controversial, so it's not for the faint of heart. If you're easily offended, please click off now. But of course, if anyone has their own Giants ranking, please leave in the comments. I'd love to see it. You know, I'll probably reply with my thoughts on it. So yeah, just leave your own Giants ranking down below. Anyway, let's begin.
Any last wishes?
I think it's pretty obvious why I've put Ninjini in last place. While the Skylanders franchise wasn't fully woke at this point, they still felt as if they needed at least one of the Giants to be a female, and that Giant ended up being Ninjini of the magic element. Of course, as a straight male, I don't really want to be playing as a female. I've put her on the portal power maybe once and instantly took her off. Not interested. It's a shame really. I really wish we could have seen what it would have looked like to see a magic male Skylander Giant, so you know, I feel like they really wasted one of the 8 spots by making Ninjini, but it is what it is. Before I cop any flack, I should probably clear up. No, I'm not a misogynist, I just don't like females or female characters in media. Anyway, let's move on with the ranking.
I've got my eye.
My reasoning for putting Eye-Brawl this low on the list is actually quite personal. To me, Eye-Brawl represents the embodiment of disappointment. Allow me to explain. It was 2012, it was during the prime of Skylanders, all the ads were on the TV, and I kept seeing an ad for this one character, Eye-Brawl, the Giant of the Undead element. And younger me, he thought, that looks awesome, that is so sick, I need it. So I begged for it. Christmas was coming up, I wanted this Skylander, I wanted to play as him, his eye could come off, that's cool. So nearing Christmas time, under the tree appeared in wrapping a Skylander shaped box. Despite my age, I wasn't an idiot. I had my suspicions, I knew who it was. Christmas came around, opened up the thing, it's Eye-Brawl, I was happy, I smiled. Next day probably, I put Eye-Brawl on the portal, excited to play him. And then I was like,
what the fuck is this piece of shit?
this is disappointing. His eyeball flies around, and he can punch. And when his eyeball flies, you just leave your body unprotected for enemies to damage you. This kind of isn't as cool as I've hyped it up in my head. And that was the first time I felt that level of disappointment. And ever since then I haven't put him back on a portal. I don't know if my opinion was valid or if my expectations were just like made it seem bad, and I'll never know because I'm never going back. So yeah, that's why he's in number 7.
Hey! I'm on fire!
Hothead is the first Giant towards the lower end of this list. I don't really have a reason for disliking, like a proper reason. I think it's something to do with his face. I don't like how his face looks. It kind of looks like a beta, his face is punchable. I don't feel cool playing as Hothead. I'd never really put him on the portal unless I'm desperate. Just not a cool looking guy. Don't ask me about his moves, his face just is med.
Hail to the whale!
If you asked me a decade ago who my favorite Giant was, I probably would have said Thumpback. So what happened? I mean, he has a cool moveset, his design's really nice. But as you may already be familiar with, ever since the allegations against him surfaced in 2014, I feel like I haven't been able to look at him the same. So out of principle, it's not letting me put him any higher on the list, but I haven't put him towards the very end of the list just because of his past glory and how I used to like him. So I feel like this placement in 5th place just fits him really well considering his past.
It's Crusher!
Crusher is your solid all-rounder, you know? You can go to him for advice, he's always there with a friendly face, he hasn't really got any enemies. I feel like his best feature though is his giant hammer. His hammer is awesome. Let's just say you don't really want to be under that thing when it gets swung because it's not going to turn out very good for you. His vision can literally turn enemies to stone, but he's not ugly like Medusa. You can't go wrong with choosing Crusher to place on the Portal of Power. He's the first character on this list that I'd say is a good pick, you know? But that being said, there's not anything that's super awesome about him that makes me go, yeah, I love Crusher. He's there, he's cool, his hammer's cool, not anything crazy.
Deal with the wheel.
The top 3, this is where stuff gets real good. Bouncer, he may not be the best Skylander, but he's definitely the coolest. I mean, look at him. His fingers are quite literally always in finger gun. It doesn't get cooler than that. He shoots bullets out of his fingers. Like, they're literally, not only does he do finger guns, like he's cool and approachable and friendly and stuff, but he shoots bullets out of his fingers. That's awesome. He's just so likable and lovable. Like, he seems like he would be good fun at parties. I mean, I literally have a friend that loves Bouncer so much. We'll just be hanging out together and he'll say one of his awesome catchphrases. Like, we'll be at gym and he'll be like, deal with the wheel. Or we'll just be like, I don't know, playing some Fortnite and he'll be like, oh yeah, the best there ever was. I'm the wheel deal. Bouncer's charisma is just simply unmatched, and this is what puts him so high on the list, that he is able to conjure up fans just like this. I mean, I nearly put him in second place, but there are a couple giants I think deserve the higher placing, so let's see who they are. Tree Rex is the character I most commonly see at the top of people's Skylander Giants ranking, and it's no surprise, he quite literally is the face of the Giants. His attacks are badass, and if you ever see him placed on a Portal of Power, you know shit's about to get real. The best way that I can put it is that he is the Optimus Prime of the Skylanders franchise, and if you've watched Transformers, you'll know why that's such a compliment.
I've come.
One thing I don't get is his name, Tree Rex. It seems to be a play on T-Rex as in the dinosaur and tree, since he's shaped like a tree, but it doesn't really have any dinosaur features about him, so I don't really understand that. So it kind of just implies that he's like a tree and his name's Rex. So I think that kind of takes away, but he's still awesome. He's still awesome. But I do think there's one giant that I'd put above him, and that giant is... Bring the sting! Woo, baby, this is peak Skylanders. This is the shit. Swarm is the GOAT on God. I mean, he's a giant anthropomorphic wasp. It doesn't get cooler than that. He has a cool color scheme. His attacks are cool. His catchphrases are badass. But the best feature about Swarm is you see Skylander Giants. To make up for all these giants having higher attack damage and more health, they were designed to be slow and sluggish. Swarm does not have this issue. My guy literally has wings, and all the other giants are waddling around at a snail's pace. Swarm flies up in the air. He's zooming around at the speed of a normal Skylander with the power of the giants. So it becomes obvious that he is quite clearly the best giant. If you're not a Swarm superfan, I'd consider reevaluating your life choices and maybe unsubscribing from this channel. But yeah, that's it for my Skylander Giants ranking. I hope you guys enjoyed. Once again, leave your rankings below. Tell me what parts of my ranking you disagreed with, and leave a comment why Swarm's the GOAT. Thank you. See ya.
This tripod is on the scene. I'm looking forward and back with a roll attack. Cause you're messing with the wrong machine. You don't stand a chance, Skylander. Even though you wore that round. Cause the power won't drop and the killer won't stop until the city of Truckers is found.